post them on the website, and I'll also post them in our Google Classroom for today. Ooh, Cheryl, I'm loving it. You renamed yourself, your music. So what we're doing is we are going to rename ourselves. So clicking on the Participants tab, which is the people icon at the bottom of your window, go ahead and rename yourself. If you mouse over your name, and you should be at the top of the list, rename, and then you can change your name to your first name, last initial, and then grade or content level. It just makes it a little easier as we're going through. And then we should not need to rename ourselves again in the future, because as long as you log in with the same computer. Okay. So I'll give you guys just a couple more seconds to find the Participants tab. And so that should be at the bottom of your window. You should see the people. And then once you click on that, you can find your name, mouse over that and click on it, and you'll get the rename option. And I still see that some people are joining audio, so that means you are still you aren't hearing me, so which is fine. Okay, so what we're doing right this second as you're joining audio is we are renaming ourselves. And so 621021, do you want to unmute and ask me a question? I can't hear you.
So you can't hear me at all? I'm unmuted.
You're unmuted.
Okay. So you're hearing me a little bit?
I can hear you a little bit, yes.
Okay. So it's
But just a little bit.
okay. And then where is the rename thing?
Where's the Participants tab?
Well,
So,
the participants tab is participants 51 or 21. All right. Rename. There it is. There it is. Hey, I think I got it.
okay, you're good. Awesome.
Okay,
I'm going to mute everybody right now because we are because we have some feedback going on because we're in the same room. So just so you know that. But I am seeing a lot of awesome renames, and so as you are joining, definitely rename yourself, and we will continue on with kind of how to navigate Zoom effectively. So okay, So my next thing is sound. And so you guys are doing a great job of muting and unmuting yourself. So I just, at the bottom of your screen, you should have the microphone. I will keep us muted unless you are, I will keep us muted in general, but you can unmute yourself should you have a question or anything. And feel free to communicate because that is how we'll get the most out of today. So definitely feel free to unmute yourself. Arranging your screen. Oh my goodness. So one of the things that is so hard when we're doing this is you're trying to watch on the screen. You're also trying to participate. So I will definitely give you time to go and try stuff yourself. But one of the things I want to make sure is that you can see as much as you can on the screen. And so when I share my screen most of the time, it's going to push you into full screen mode, which means it's great. All you see a lot of this of what I'm sharing, but it is a lot more challenging because you are not able to switch windows easily. So what I'm going to recommend doing is when you mouse over the full screen, in the upper right hand corner, you should see a broken square. And so if you click on the broken square, it will take you from full screen to not full screen. You can also hit the escape key and it'll take you out of full screen. And then you're much easier to
Mine's
be.
not showing up, and I was trying to go to. Oh, I was trying to go to. Oh, top to
All right, so Rochelle, I think you're in the same room as somebody else. And so,
right now. How do I turn mine off?
all right, let's go back a slide. So what we're going to do, so is there somebody in your room that is going to manage the sound for your room so that you guys can still talk? So to do that, what you're going to want to do is click on the caret beside, your click on the caret beside your microphone, that's the word. And it's going to come up with a new window. And one of your options here is leave computer audio. And so just leave computer audio, and then you'll still be able to see everything, but you'll be listening to the audio from whoever in your room is sharing the audio. So that makes sense. Okay, so once you hit the escape key while you're in full screen, then you should see at the bottom very easily all of your tools, and you can set up your participants tab and your chat in that also there if you want to see those simultaneously. And it is kind of nice to be able to do that. So cameras, if you guys do want to have virtual backgrounds, you can do all that. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that today just because that's not a big focus of what we're doing. Zoom group chat. Definitely use the chat. I'm seeing quite a bit of chat going on. I do want to note that Galen is in the room with us, and he can help with the Ohitica accounts. And so if you can send him either a message, a direct message through Zoom, or you can also send him a message directly. He will help you get your Ohitica account reset to make sure that you're good to go. So the chat will be a really great way to communicate, and I will be asking us to communicate in the chat throughout today. And so if you guys want to practice finding the chat real quick and just sending everyone a good morning, that would be awesome. Hey, Kenna. Good morning, Ashley. Good morning, Kirsten. Good morning. Good morning. It's too fast. I can't read it. Oh, I love this. Good morning. Hi, Deanne. Good morning. It is a beautiful day. Sonia, I've got Mrs. Webb, Mrs. Log, and Mrs. Annis. Awesome. So awesome. So good morning, everyone. Oh, Cheryl, the music, keep a song in your heart. So I just wanted to make sure that you can chat with me. So that's where we're at. So just please feel free to chat. Oh, we have Robin has Mrs. Mitchell, Mrs. Eaglestaff, Mrs. Whalen, Mr. Anderson, and Ms. Hill in the room. Okay. Good morning, primary sped. I love that. All right. Calebo needs their Ohitika email from Galen. So Galen, do you want to hop on that? I will drop a chat to you. And Wes, yes, keeping a mask in our pocket. Yes, a smile on our face and a mask in our pocket and a song in our heart. Is that the theme of the day? Okay. Well, good morning. Good morning. So definitely use that chat to ask questions, to comment. Just that'll be kind of, because so many of you are in rooms, this will be a way to have, you can have your voice be heard also. Our next slide. Oh, Savannah T, first grade, has a whole team there too. Library, Ms. Marshall, Ms. Lookinghorse, Ms. Seaton, Mr. Jewett, and Mrs. Traversy. Excellent. Okay. So one of my favorite tools is the participants tab. And so you guys have already found the participants. That's the little people. You've already found that when you renamed yourself. But at the bottom of that window, you have feedback tools, and they are so fun. And so this is where we can do really quick feedback, like yes, no. Have you ever used Google Classroom? And you can go to the participants and do a quick yes, no. So click on the people at the bottom of your screen, and then at the bottom of that little window, you should see a green check, a red X, and then you also have a go slower, go faster. And so sometimes when people are like, well, I've kind of used something, I say, well, click the go slower, because they don't have a I kind of did something. So go ahead and answer the question, have you ever used Google Classroom? And we'll do yes, no, and we'll use go slower as I kind of did. I kind of have. Super fun. And so those of you guys that are chatting, I love that you're dropping your thoughts in the chat, but I do want to make sure that you have the participants tab feedback going on too. So find the people and then do, oh, and you guys are all in a room too. So yes, I get that. Oh, you guys are awesome. So great. So what I'm seeing is I'm seeing about 5 of you guys have done this, 13 plus some of the chat have not, and then 4 of you kind of have. So Tiffany, do you have a question? Do you want to unmute and ask? Because this is also where you can raise your hand. So, okay, awesome. I'll lower your hand. All right. So great. It looks like you guys are communicating with me, and that is really what we need for this whole week, is just to make sure that you guys are communicating with me and able to share ideas and feedback. So wonderful. So I think that pretty much sums up everything that we're doing. So I'm gonna mute you guys again. And so we are going to, yep, okay. So that pretty much sums up what we're going to do right now. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen or stop sharing the slide deck. And we are going to actually jump into Google Classroom. And so I'm very excited. When I look at my people, I have, I've already got 15 students in the class. And so yay, I'm so excited that we have that many people in the class. But I also know that some people I just sent the email to welcome you in. And so you may not have had a chance to join. So let's look at how to join the class. So I sent out a welcome document for you all for the week, and it's going to have all of the information that you need to get through this week. And I say get through this week. It's not that bad. And so this is where you're going to want to log in to your OHEDIC account. And so for those of you that are sharing a computer, I would pick one of you to log in to the Google Classroom and join, and then the rest of you, if you can get access to a computer or a device later in the day, and make sure you can get logged in, that will be really important. So where we're at is we are going to go to ohedica.com. And I love your website because it's super easy. When you're working with your kids, you're going to be able to say, we're going to go to ohedica.com. And that can be like where they all start. At the top of the page, you're going to want to click on the Google Apps. And that is going to ask you to log in with, and you have to use your OHEDICA account. And so this is where you're going to, if you don't know your OHEDICA account or don't remember your password, passwords have been reset for the ones that I submitted. But those of you that registered at the last minute, you haven't been submitted. So if you don't know your password, drop it in the chat. Galen will fix you up. Alrighty, questions, concerns? All right, so this is going to be one of those real fast feedback type things where go ahead and click the green check in the participants tab when you are logged in to OHEDICA. Okay, and so there's no class with what code? This code right here? Okay, so that is the join code for the class, but I'm just trying to make sure everybody is in OHEDICA. So that's kind of where we're at. Okay, so if you're getting that message, I'm kind of wondering what, oh, okay. Oh dear. So if your font got really big, we can fix that. That's not the end of the world, thank goodness. In your upper right hand corner, go ahead and click on the I have a little I there, and you can on Zoom, you can go back. You can click on down on the Zoom or up on the Zoom. So hopefully that'll fix that. Yep, so here's the join code. So join code for Google Classroom. All right, so Rochelle, are you in? Let's see. I am not seeing, well, let me refresh. I do not see you in, Rochelle. So, and I will guide us through joining in just a sec. We'll keep going there. So I want to make sure we can get logged into OHEDICA. That is my first concern, is making sure you're logged into OHEDICA. And so when you are logged into OHEDICA, yes, go ahead. I've got a question. Go ahead and unmute and ask.
Oh, wait, hold on.
So in your room, you're going to want to have all but one of you disconnected from the audio, okay? and then have that person be your sharer. Okay, iPhone, I don't know your name, and so, okay, awesome question. Javu, 6th grade, I don't know how to say your name. And then iPhone that does not have an Ohidica account, if you want to drop your name in the chat, then we can figure that out with Galen, okay? Okay, so if someone was in a previous classroom or if someone was logged in with a different account, how do you log out? How do you change that? That is a really great question. So let's look at that. So right now it looks like I've only got about 11 people that are logged into their Ohidica accounts. So please make sure once you get logged into your Ohidica account that you check the green check. How do we switch accounts? So I'm going to pop up here and we're going to look at my account. So I'm currently in my Google account for Ohidica. And when I click on Classroom, it's going to take me to the classroom. If I want to switch accounts, I can click on the J, and then it says I have the ability to either sign out or add another account. And so I can add another account and make sure I'm logged in with my Ohidica account. The other thing that if you struggle with this, you can click on the J above the Google Classroom J, or it's a J for me because it's an initial, but there's a guest window, and the guest window can make it a little easier for you because you'll be logging in only as your Ohidica self. So that would be how you can log somebody out or switch windows. Okay, so quick question. So iPhone, I don't know who you are, so I can't help you with the Ohidica account. If you want to drop your name in there, we can make sure that Galen can get you situated with an Ohidica account. Does that help you with how to log out? Okay, that's okay, Carmen. So not knowing your Ohidica account info has been kind of challenging. So Carmen, I'm going to give you to Galen also. So Galen, can you help out Carmen with her Ohidica account? Is this Carmen O'Neill? Which Carmen needs help? Yes, I'll come back to the instructions. Yep. Okay, so what we're going to do is that's okay, no worries. So really what we want to do very first is we're going to log into our Google Apps with our Ohidica account. And so we're going to go to ohidica.com, and then you're going to log in. Okay, so Carmen One Skunk, Galen, has no Ohidica account. Thanks, Carmen. So we're going to go to ohidica.com, log into Google Apps. by clicking at on the top of the screen with your OHEDICA email address. And so how that should look is we'll go to ohedica.com. Whoops. And once I'm there, I'm going to click on Google Apps, and it's going to come in and it's going to say sign in to Gmail. Okay, so Carmen, can you share another email address so that Galen can share with you? So all you have to do is type in your email, the start of your email for your OHEDICA account, and then your password. And at this point, it brings us into our Gmail, okay? We're going to click on the waffle in the upper right-hand corner and go to Classroom. And at that, now you're in. Awesome. All right, so Cheryl, you thought you were in, but you're not sure. I hear you. Let's look. So I am the teacher, so I can go in and I can see who all's here. Does not look like you are in. So let me go back to those instructions again. So how do you get back to that screen? So we do need to make sure that you are logged in as your OHEDICA U. And then as long as you are logged in, you'll notice whenever I make a new tab, or whenever I'm in a Google, I can click, I see the waffle. And so as long as I can see the waffle, then I can click on Classroom, and then I can click on the plus sign and say join a class. And that's where I would type in the class code. You're also going to see, and I love this, this is new, like new, I don't know, since last night, I don't know. When I did stuff last week, it wasn't here. And so this is pretty cool. It tells you when you're trying to join a Google Classroom what you're currently signed in as. And so you can see if you're signed in as your OHEDICA U or not. And then you can type in the class code. And so here's the class code again. And then once I do that, I can hit enter. And what will happen for me is I'm in it. And so I can't, it won't let me, but that's not, you guys should not see that problem. All right, so Jasmine LeBeau needs an OHEDICA account, Galen. So when I'm in and looking now, let's see. I'm starting to see more and more people popping into the class, so that's awesome. So no, do not click that you are a student. You are a teacher. And so in this situation, you have to select that you're a teacher. And so if you get asked the very, very first time you're going to be asked, am I a student or am I a teacher? You are a teacher. Even though you're you are taking a class, you are a teacher role. If you accidentally clicked that you're a student, that's where Galen is in the room, and he can fix that. Poor Galen, he's gonna say, what did I get myself into? So if you accidentally clicked that you're a student and not a teacher, go ahead and chat Galen. There you go. Oh, so Galen will fix that. You're good. You guys are doing awesome. It is Monday. I hope you all had coffee before you came online. Galen is managing things, so thank you so much for being here, Galen. Hope you had coffee too. Okay. So we're kind of rolling in. The very, very first time you log into your Google Classroom, it will ask you, are you a teacher or a student? And you do want to say that you're a teacher. And then you're going to be able to do the plus sign in the upper right corner and select join class. And like I said, I'm loving, okay, Cheryl, let's see what's going on with your screen. So I'm not sure what screen you can't get back to. Would you be willing to share your screen so that I can kind of help you? Okay, awesome. All right, so let me stop sharing my screen. And then we'll give you a quick moment to share your screen. So go ahead and share your screen, Cheryl, and then we'll see what you see and where we're at. We'll get you all back. So to share your screen, it's the green share screen at the bottom. Go ahead and click on that. And then I would just pick your screen and then you're going to click on share and that'll allow you to share screen. Awesome. So I'm just telling you guys that if you can share your screen, you are rock stars and you will go far in the online meeting world. All right, Cheryl, so why don't you go ahead and click on Google Apps. So can you click on the Google Apps there? There you go, perfect. Okay, and so now go over to the left, or the right, I'm sorry. Go over to the right and click on the waffle. There you go. My goal for the day is to talk in food terms as much as possible. So click on your waffle. And then you should see Classroom. So click on Classroom. And there you are. So now what you're going to do is click on the plus sign in the upper right hand corner. There you go. And then join class. And the class code is YD5KGB4. You're missing a K in there. So it's 5K. There you go. All right, go ahead and hit enter. And just hit return or enter on your keyboard. There you go. Awesome. All right, you're in. I love it. Okay. So Denise, what do you need help with? So thank you, Cheryl, for walking through this.
I don't understand how to get from one where you're at to where I'm supposed to be at and see both of them.
So you can do a couple of different things. I'm going to stop sharing your screen, Cheryl, okay? But thank you so much for sharing with us, okay? All right, so great question. How can we switch back and forth? So what you're, go ahead.
I don't think I'm even on right because I can't get internet where my group is. So I'm by myself,
Okay.
sitting in another room trying to figure out. I got into my Ohitika.
Yay. Okay. Okay. So do you want to share your screen real quick? Wonderful. Okay. So you're in your Ohitika account, and so go ahead and let's see. Go just at the top of this window, go ahead and type in that ohitika.com up there, and we'll see where we're at, okay? Wonderful. Go ahead and hit enter. All right, Google Apps. And you are now click on the waffle in the right side of the screen. There you go. And then click on Google Classroom. Oops. Go over, click on your waffle again, and then select Google Classroom.
But this is in the way.
Oh, okay. You can move that actually.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Wonderful. Okay. All right. Now click on the plus. Join class.
Okay.
And your class code is YD5KGB4. All right, and then click on join in the upper right-hand corner. And you're in. Good job.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so and then Carmen, you sent a note about you're not sure that you're where you need to be because you're not seeing the chat, and I'm not sure I understand that. So Denise, thank you. I'm going to stop sharing your screen. Yes, Rochelle, thank you. Yes, you know what, and I think that's going to be probably our easiest thing to do is to make a split screen. And so I'm going to give you a quick show on how to make your screen split. So go ahead and I'm going to share my screen again. Remember, it's going to make us see full screen potentially, and so you can take yourself out of that by hitting the escape. Once you've done that, excuse me, then you are able to make a split screen. So you can have Zoom on one side and what we're looking at on the other. So Tiffany, to see if you are changed to a teacher, the easiest way to do that is to go, when you click on the plus, if you can see create a class, you are a teacher. If you cannot see create a class, then you're not a teacher. So anyway, so back to split screen. So I clicked on the minimize icon and drag your screen over to the right, and then you can pick your other screen and you can have both screens be shared with you. So hopefully that will help you guys as you are joining in. So where we're at right now is I've up to 49 students, and so that's pretty awesome, though I do know that some of the secondary people could also join this course. So I'm up to 50. That's even more better. So in your participants tab, make sure you do a green check if you have joined. And if you have not joined, drop in the chat so that we can do that. So I'm going to give you guys just a couple more minutes to go ahead and join. I'll come back to the full screen of.
Julie,
Yes.
this is Ann Beckwith. I was busy getting my email straightened out and all those other things and passwords.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of missed what you were saying to do.
That is no problem. So here what we're going to do is I'm going to drop it in the chat. So you're going to want to log into ohitica.com.
Okay. I will do that.
And then you're going to want to click on Google Apps at the top of the screen and log in with your Ohitica email address.
Okay.
And then once you've done that, there's the waffle in the upper right-hand corner. You're going to
Yeah.
select it, and then you're
Okay.
going to join a class. If it's the first time you're in, you need to say, I'm a teacher.
Okay.
And then I'll put the class code in the chat too, so that you have that.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Oh, of course. And so I'm seeing I've got 19 of you guys that have said, yes, you're in, but I have 51 people in this session. So that makes me nervous. So People tab, click on the participants, and then the green check. If you're in, please. Oh, we're up to 20 now. That's exciting. I feel like I'm in an auction. Let's see you guys go up. Okay, so if you are not in Google Classroom at this point, what we're going to do is I will stay towards the very, very end. Thank you, Robin. So I will stay at the very, very end. If you're not in, we'll make sure you get in, okay? Because what we're going to do next is to kind of keep things moving. This is recorded, and I know we're all at different places. There's a lot of people that had never used Google Classroom, and they were feeling really nervous about this. There's a number of people who are like pros, and I love that. And then there's the number of people that fit in the middle. And so here's what we're going to do now. We're actually going to go through, I'm going to go through the process of creating a demo class for you guys so you can see what it looks like. You guys have just joined a class, and so you are in a class as a student. So you'll be able to see what it looks like for your students. You'll be able to see how the assignments appear, how due dates appear, etc., etc. Please do not worry about the due dates. They are just there for you to see how they look. You guys are adults. I'm not worried about you, but I just don't want you to feel like, oh, there's a due date and I'm stressed. Please don't. The due date is just an example of what it looks like, how it responds. So Galen says he's still waiting on an alternate email for Jasmine. If you could drop that in the chat, then he can set you up with your Ohitica account. So for those of you that have Google down and you've used Google Classroom and you know this, there's some new stuff. And so I'm going to kind of go through and I'll be talking about some of the finer points that you may want to look at. For those of you that, and you can create a classroom as you go. For those of you that have never used Google Classroom, I really recommend watching this and then taking the time at the end of the class to go through and create. Remember, we have office hours this afternoon from 3 to 4. That's a perfect time to say, oh, wait a minute, I'm lost still, and we can go through and recover some of that content. So I will be going faster than some of you people who've never used Google Classroom. You're not going to be able to follow along, and just know that this is recorded. Come back and watch it. We have office hours, and there's a handout. For those of you that can follow along, feel free, go to take a look at it. All right, I'm going to mute you guys again. And we are going to go on Google Classroom. I just cannot wait.
No, mute.
Did you have a question? Okay. So let us pop over. So I'm in my Ohidica account and I see that I've got 54 students in my Google Classroom account. And I'm going to go into your class for Eagle Butte. And I'm loving everybody that is in the stream. You guys are dropping on comments and everything, so I love that. And you're also going to see here that I've put on the assignments they post on the stream, and then I also have a welcome to Google Classroom. I have a class comment, and we'll talk about that as we set this up. But so this is your stream, and that is where you can have conversations. Classwork is the next tab over. That is where your assignments are. And so you're going to see that you have 2 assignments, Google Classroom Elementary. One is due on August 14th at 8 a.m. and the other one does not have a due date. It just tells you when it was posted. So we're going to go through class assignment 001. And so I'm going to go in and we're going to view the assignment so that you have your handout resources should you want them right now. So I've really worked hard to, one of the things that I try to do is utilize consistency with my with my assignments and how I set them up. To make it easier for you as a student to follow along in what we're doing. So I name my assignments all starting with a number. So 002 is actually with the secondary group because we're all going to be in the same class. Since many of these courses will be the same, I put us all in the same class. When we scroll on down, you're going to see that I'm telling you have 3 things to do in this assignment. The first thing you're going to do is create your Google Classroom. And then you're going to utilize some collaborative slides. And so this is an example for you guys to see how we can collaborate with our students and how our students can participate together. And then finally, you're going to turn in your homework. You're not attaching any files to this assignment or anything like that. You will see a mark as done option. And then I've given you 2 resources to support this assignment. One is the collaborative slides. And then the other one is the setting up your classroom. And so that is what we'll actually be going through next. I'm sorry. I understand. And I did not change that to Ohidica. So. And so you will be logging in, and so this is how do you create your classroom. There's a Google Classroom workflow document that you can follow through. So if you are lost entirely after this, there is a step-by-step instructions, and then there are some videos. And so one of the things I'm going to recommend that you do is to, when you create your classroom, share the join code with a couple colleagues, because one of the things you're going to find is there is no student view option. And so I may actually ask some of you to share your screen as we're going through this so that we can see what the student side looks like as compared to what the teacher side looks like. So if you can join a colleague's class and a colleague can join your class, you can make assignments and you can see what they look like and go back and forth. Okay. So you guys are in our very first assignment. This is the creating 001 Google Classroom, setting up your classroom. So I'm going to go out. I'm going to go to Google Classroom again. So I'm doing that by, okay, let me look for you just a second. I'm going to go to the waffle. I am going to click on Classroom, and here I go. So now what I'm going to do is you see I have 2 courses here, and so I know like the people who shared their screens earlier, they already had some classes up too. I can see I have 54 students in the Google Classroom for Eagle Butte, and then I have a Sandbox course. And I do want to touch on this for everybody. Sandbox courses are great because that can be where you can put assignments. Since we can reuse assignments across. I have a whole bunch of drafts created in here. I've laid out my topics, and now I can add them very easily to my Eagle Butte class by reusing. So a Sandbox course can be a really great place to create your work and then add it in later. So I'm going to click on the plus, and I'm going to make a new class. The nice thing here is your classes are your name. The only thing that's required is your name. And so we'll do Google Classroom demo. Section, subject, and room, those are all optional. Sometimes, like when I'm working elementary, we typically do not end up with sections. However, like for the specials for music, art, you may want to have, you may want to name your classroom, you know, say, you know, it's your name, but then the section might be for the teacher, you know, like the 3rd grade Mrs. Jones type of thing. So you may want to name it like that to kind of help with those logistics. So I'm creating a demo class. And the nice thing is once you create the demo class, I mean, this is, you are seriously ready to go. You can share out the class code, the join link here. We can customize our stream, our image here by either selecting a theme or uploading a photo. And that is totally up to you if you want to do that or not. I frequently do customize it just because it makes it easier when you're looking at your grid to see, you know, you start to know which class is yours. In the stream, what we see here is the options for, you can share information with your class. You'll notice that there is a reuse here. That means I can reuse a post from any of the classes that I have that I'm either created myself or I'm a co-teacher in. And so this is really awesome. If you collaborate as a co-teacher with somebody, you can go in and here's a post I want to reuse. I can click on it. And now I can edit it. I can add files, or I can add files or links if I want. I can also customize what students I want it to go to, because I don't have any students in this course. It defaults to all students, but if I did have students in the course, I could customize that. So I'm going to go ahead and notice there's a drop down beside. I can schedule it or I can save it as a draft. So if I wanted to post it right now, I can just post, otherwise schedule or draft. So I'll post it. Here we are. So now I've posted something in my on my stream. The next tab over is your Classwork tab, and this is where you are going to be able to create your assignments. So when you're creating your assignments, you're going to see you have the big Create button here. We have a number of different options that pop up. One of them is topic. You can organize your assignments by topic. And so you're going to see, I'm going to jump over to the class that I created for you guys. Your topic for this class is Google Classroom Elementary. Tomorrow when you come back, you're going to see materials because that's where I'll post all the recordings. You're going to see Google Classroom Secondary because that's where the secondary section will go. So we'll be adding more topics as we go. So I can create topics ahead of time, and as a teacher, I will see them, but notice it notices your students won't see topics unless there's published post. And so I can, whoops, today, and then we can do unit 1. So there are a number of different things we think about with topics, and so we will come back and talk about those. The nice thing is I can drag and drop topics, and so I can always keep materials at the top of my page, or I can always keep today at the top of my page if I want to. All right, so create, you have the ability to create an assignment, a quiz assignment, a question, material, or reuse a post. So what we're going to just kind of keep moving, and we'll come back to that. People are all the people that are in your course. I can invite my students using the join code. And then finally, grades. This is where our grades will show up once we have people in the course. So I am going to give you guys just a few minutes to go ahead and create your Google Classroom. And so I can, if somebody would like to share their screen and go through the process with us together, we can do that. Or you can just go ahead and create your Google Classroom. And then once you've done that, remember to invite a couple colleagues with your join code. Just send them your join code because you've practiced joining a class already. And otherwise, you can just click the green check once you've got your class created. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and I know that's not very long, 5 minutes to go and create your Google Classroom. And I'll be here to answer questions and all that. So you want to do that. So in your settings, you can rename your class. Then you're going to notice we have our general information. And so here we have a class code. You can disable that if you need to. You can reset it if you need to. You can copy it from here, or you can display it, excuse me, and you can actually make it really large. You guys do not need to join this class, and so you don't need to know this, but that is one of the things you can do. The stream. So when we're in the class that we're currently in, that you've all joined, you'll notice that it's like the wild, wild west on the stream. You guys can all, use, you can all post, you can all comment, and so it gets pretty messy pretty quickly. You also can see that I've posted assignments on the stream, and so you can imagine that as we go through, we could have a lot of conversation and comments. So here's your options on the stream, and this is where you can control in mass what students can do. You have the ability to control individually if a student is muted or not, but this is in mass. And so I can set this for the whole class to say students can post and comment. And for adults, I normally let you do that. Students can only comment. That means that I would be able to create the main post, but like Tim would not be able to pop in and say hi and create a post here. Tim would only be able to comment on my welcome to Google Classroom content comment. And then, or I can say that only teachers can post or comment. And so that will be if only I can post and the students cannot do class comments. I do really like using the class comments because that can be a great way to build that community and allow our students to communicate. But I do know that it requires a little bit of digital citizenship and just that, you know, what is an appropriate comment. And you guys are rocking it. I'm not worried about you, but you will have to work with your students. But this is really great, a great opportunity to discuss digital citizenship. Classwork on stream. And so in our class right now, we are having classwork post on stream. I do not really like having classwork posted on stream, and so I typically disable that, but I wanted you to see what it looks like. And so when I disable classwork on stream, I say hide notifications. You're going to see now that there's no longer classwork notifications on the stream. So it helps keep the stream a little bit cleaner. And so I would definitely consider, I mean, and you can do however you want, but I would definitely consider how to keep the stream tidy and organized so that your students can find what they need. They can always go to the Classwork tab to see what assignments are there. All right. So, and then, so I hide the classwork on stream notifications. And then here it's at show deleted items. What does that mean? So only teachers can view deleted items, but if you show deleted items, and so I'm going to go back over here, and Tim, I'm going to pick on you. I'm sorry. You have done nothing wrong. But I'm going to delete this comment, okay? I'm going to say this was not an appropriate comment, and I'm going to delete that, okay? So I'm deleting Tim. All right. If I go to my settings and I turn on show deleted items and save those, now I can see, even though this is deleted, I can see, it tells me it's deleted. I can see it there. And so this is an opportunity for me to turn those on when I'm having that conversation with Tim to say, hey, Tim, do you know why I deleted your comment, type of thing. And so that having that deleted is great just because you can turn in and only you see it. So it's not like it messes up the stream for anybody else. Should you guys use Meet for meeting, you can generate your Meet link here. And then you can copy and paste that link. You also can make it be visible to students. And so when I say it's visible to students, it actually shows up at the top of the screen. And this is something where I would typically use my Meet as something that I would schedule with my students. I wouldn't just have it be up there, if that makes sense. And then finally, grading. And grading is one of those things that Google has come so far the last few years. I did have a question, totally get it, about connecting with Infinite Campus. And I'm gonna have to talk to I'm gonna talk to Galen about that. And then also, there is like an add-on, but it isn't, there's additional money that needs to be spent to do Google to do that. And also, I'm not 100% sure if it works really well or not. And so I'll touch base with Galen about that and the connecting with Infinite Campus. But in terms of grading within Google, you have options for a grading system. And so you can do no overall grade, you can do total points, or you can do weighted by category. And so if you typically do a weighted by category grading in your grade book, you can do that. You have overall, you can show overall grades to students or not. And then down here you have your grade category. So I'm gonna say test is worth 50 points. I'm going to say activity is worth 25 points, and I'm going to say a quiz is worth 10 points. Okay, so I have added these grade categories in. So now once I save, so I've saved my settings, and I go to Classwork and I create an assignment, and I'm just going to do a demo assignment to show you how the grading works. Once I do that, over on the right under grade category, I can now say test, and it'll automatically come up to 50 points. And I'm able to also sort later by grade category. So utilizing that setup step can really save you time. The other thing that happens that's really kind of slick is when you copy a class, you get all of those categories. And so if you've set everything up, you only need to set it up once. And so that's where you created your Google Classroom, but now I'm hoping you're going to go in and set it up using the settings before we before you do more. Okay. So that is the settings. That's the gear in the upper right-hand corner. The other thing we have, and this is one of those things that'll help keep you happier, is your notifications. How do you manage your notifications in Google Classroom? And so we have a couple of different resources here. There is the Google Help for turning notifications on and off. And then there's also how to manage Google Classroom like a boss with notifications from Ditch That Textbook. And both of these are excellent tools for giving you that guidance. And so how do we get to notifications? Excuse me. We go in Google Classroom. We go to the hamburger menu on the left. And then you're going to scroll all the way down and you're going to see your settings. That is your notification. So here we have, and your students are going to have these same settings. And so this is one of those things where when they're like, yeah, no, I didn't know, I didn't get any notification that you made an assignment. This is where you can say, hey, what notifications do you have on? So you can turn on and off your email notifications. And so if you have these off, you will get no notifications. You can get notifications for various things. And so because I'm not a student in any class, I don't see the student options. But I would see, you guys will see for classes you teach, and then you'll also see the classes you are in. And so you can see comments on your posts, comments that mention you, private comments, and then as a teacher, you can get notifications of late submissions, resubmissions, invitations to co-teach, or students' posts published or failed. Class notifications allows you to set up individual. So like if I do not want notifications from my demo class, I can turn that off and I will not get any notifications from the demo class. So something I'm going to tell you guys, so like those of you that are co-teachers, so the special ed, anybody that you're in a class with somebody else as a co-teacher, you will most likely want to turn off the notifications for that class, just because it will get a little unwieldy, because especially for SPED, you'll be in a lot of different classes. So you'll want to go down to the notifications and just turn off the notifications for those specific classes. So notifications, is important to be able to do too. All right, and so then the last thing is talking about archiving and copying a class. And so when you copy a class, here is what copies: your title, section, description, the subject, the topics. The classwork posts, they're copied as draft with no scheduled dates, and then your grading system. What doesn't get copied are your announcements, any deleted classwork, your students and co-teachers, student posts, attachments that you don't have permission to copy, and Google Sites files. So why would you even think about this? when you are utilizing, I'm going to go back to my classes, and so we can see all the classes that I have created here. If I am creating multiple sections of a class, what I would do is I would create my shell of my first class, and then I may even just call it my shell with my topics, with my grading system, all of that set up, and then I would copy the class. What I do not recommend is copying a class with like one of last year's classes and copying it verbatim, because what you end up getting is you get all your assignments, and so it's just a lot to field through. So they are draft, as you can see here, these are all draft, but there's a lot. So I would recommend setting up a frame with your topics, with your grading topics, and your settings that you like, and then copy. Because when you make assignments, you can reuse all the assignments, and you also, it'll just be a lot tidier for you when trying to keep track of things. So that would be my recommendation for copying. So I'm going to pop back to my classes. So the next thing is archiving. So last year you used Google Classroom, you dabbled in it, great. So to archive a class, you have to be on your main page looking at the class tiles. And you'll notice that we have the ability to move classes around, which I love. So I can rearrange my tiles as I need to. If I want to archive something, I need to be on the tile page, click on the three dots, and this is where I can archive or copy it. And so if I archive this class, it's going to, I can still use posts from this class if I need to, but I can't update it. I won't update anything. Your students will still have access to the class. Your students will still be in the class. And so really great question about if you teach, in an isolated homeroom class, do you recommend that you have a separate class for reading, math, or put it all in one place? Truly, that's going to be up to you and how you like to organize. Know that when we're in Google Classroom and we're looking at our classwork, I've created your class, your elementary, and we won't have a ton of assignments. One of the things that happens is when an assignment is past due, it doesn't go away. Nothing happens to it. It just stays there. Or when an assignment is over, it's graded and returned. It's still on your list. So you may, just for organizational purposes, want to have a classroom for each content area. But you also can set up topics for each content area in your Google Classroom. And so you have some options, and we'll talk about assignments and topics here in just a second. So while this is all super fresh, oh, I want to delete a class, sorry. So now I want to delete a class. I'm going to go back to my hamburger menu. And then I'm going to go down to archived classes and see I have my archived demo class. At this point, I can delete this class. And if I delete it, the class has gone away. The folders will still stay in my Google Drive though, so I'll still have all those files. This is where I can restore this class. If I want to say, I didn't mean to archive it, I want to bring it back, I can do that. I could also copy this class if I needed to. So that is kind of the big three. You're using your notifications, you're using your settings, and then you're also using your archiving capability to clean stuff up. So I'm going to give you a few minutes right now to on your original, on the class that you created for our class, to go in and look at your settings and ask me any questions that you have on settings, on notifications, on archiving, any of that. So just a quick 5 minutes, we'll do that. So feel free to ask questions. You can unmute. you can. All right. So you guys are rocking. I'm excited to see what what you guys are doing. All right. So let's go back. So we touched on topics a little bit. I mean, topics is one of those things that really is so important as you are looking at setting up your classes. So I'm giving you 2 different articles with different examples. And so Ditch That Textbook, Matt Miller has just amazing stuff for Google Classroom and using Google Classroom and using the Google apps. And so though his website has been a little touch and go lately, so if he doesn't load, we'll just revisit him later. Yeah, he's iffy right now. The Shake Up Learning also has really great resources. I like her example here because how we asked about how do you organize elementary specifically, what's the best way. So she goes through like how topics work, and so by default new topics are added to the bottom, but you can move them around, and so that's this little section here. But she goes through and talks about ways to organize your assignments, and this is something that I really encourage you to take a few minutes to think about. And each of you may do something different depending on what you teach and how it looks. But she talks about organizing by units or modules. So here we can do Unit 1 is Civil War, Unit 2 is World War I, etc. Organize by week. And so here you have, the week of, and you would have all of your work there. She does note that, it can get really out of control over time, and that makes sense. You could end up with a lot of content. Organized by the type of assignment. And so here, she has her bell ringers, her daily work, and her classroom materials. Down here, she talks about organizing by subject area, which is great for elementary. And so here we have, our language arts, math, science, and social studies. And you'll note when we are in a class, and so if I'm in your class today and I'm looking at classwork, I can just click on Google. I can click on a topic. I can see all my topics, or I can click on a topic. And so here are the 2 assignments that we currently have for Google Classroom Elementary. So you can see, like for the elementary peeps, you could click on this and say, okay, we're just going to go to Google Classroom Elementary, or we're going to go to bell ringer, or we're going to go, or language arts. We can do that. So she also talks about organizing by adding the today topic. And so that's just where you manually move each item you want students to focus on that particular day. So you can say today, and you can just drop those in. We have examples of learning targets. And then also she talks about disabling posts on the stream. And then she has a couple of other things that she recommends. One is creating a topic for past assignments. And so this would because like I said, when you guys come back tomorrow, these assignments are still going to be here. They're not going to go away. And so even if you turn them in, they'll gray out, but otherwise they will be here. So one of the things that people are doing is they're saying, past, or, archive, or, they give them a different name, and you can just drag and drop your past assignments down there. One of the other recommendations that you'll see that she gives is that each assignment has a dedicated number. And so that is where I really do try to model that when I'm doing classes with teachers, is making sure that every assignment does have that dedicated number. So the secondary crew has assignment 002 on it. but that helps make it easier as we're going through. You don't end up with, you'll notice that I can say we're doing assignment 001, and you have that, and you can get to it easier. So it's easier to reference your students. It's also easier to reference you keep track of the work for you. So all right, so that is your topics. And so now let's see if we can get to ditch that textbook, if he's available or not now. I did email him last week, and he said his website has been having some issues. He does have really good resources, but yeah, he's not there right now. So, okay, we carry on. Okay, so this is a think about. What organizational structure topics do you want to use? Do you plan to use? And so especially if you're, excuse me, elementary, you know, this is where you want to think about do you want to have a class for each content area, so the math class, or do you just want to have the math topic? And so you can kind of think about how you want to organize your classes. The next thing we're going to do is look at our stream. And in your settings, so that is what we did in our settings. That's how you can control who posts on your stream. And you can also control your classwork notifications. And so those are all things that we talked about in our notifications, or in our, I'm sorry, I'm losing my mind. That's also what we talked about in our class settings. Please know that posts can be reused on the stream from one class to the next. And so that is one of the more powerful things that we can do with that is you reuse posts and assign them across. But thinking about what you want your students to be able to do and how you want to manage that is going to be really important. And then finally, we're down here on classwork. And so things with classwork, oh, ditch that textbook. I'm pretty sure he's not going to work there either. He has some really great resources here for.
Oh, it's on your laptop. Okay. Oh,
He has some really great resources, and so hopefully he will come back. Keep clicking so that you'll get to see it. But when we make classwork, you can do the following things. You can reuse assignments from other classes. You can schedule. You can save an assignment as a draft. You can assign it to selected students, and so I can do small group assignments if I want. And then I can also assign it to multiple classes. When we're attaching Google Apps resources like slides, docs, sheets, you can make an attachment be view only. You can make a copy for each student, or you can make it so students can edit, and that means everybody edits the same document. And so this is one of the ones where when we're looking at this assignment that I made for you guys for today, the setting up your classroom, I'm going to edit this so you can see what it looks like. When we're looking at this assignment, you're going to see that the instructions are students can view file. And so that means you guys can all view that file. The slides, setting up your classroom, you can all edit. And so these slides are all collaborative slides. And the instructions at the top of the page are to create your classroom and then select a slide that does not have your name on it. And so you can go down. And so like Sonia has already put her name on slide 1. And so as we keep on rolling down, you're going to want to find a slide that doesn't have your name on it. Put a screenshot of your class there, and you'll have the how to take a screenshot is listed in the comments. And this is something that I just added for today, but once you're done answering the questions, then go ahead and drag, and so I'm gonna pick on you momentarily, Kelsey. I'm gonna drag over and just set down on my slide the emoji that I'm feeling right now as I'm getting there. And so I couldn't help myself but add the cool cat one. But you can be happy, you can be neutral, or you can be sad. So you have options. And it's just, that's a quick way. I'll show you guys tomorrow how that looks and how we can use that. So that is your assignment. And the reason you're doing this is for multiple things. One, it's a way for you guys to see how we can do a collaborative assignment with our students. Two, it's going to get you to think about all of the things that you are, like what topics you're using, what lesson numbering system, what questions, et cetera, et cetera. And so this is all stuff that you're going to be doing anyways. And so it's not an assignment, it's not a busy work assignment. It's more of an assignment that you're just putting everything in one spot. So that is, but please do not stress about the homework. That is never my intent at all. So we have about 10 minutes left, and so I'm going to let you guys take this time to go through and create your classroom and make sure you've got your stream set up the way you want and look at your topics. And then if you want to do an assignment, you can definitely set up an assignment. We will be looking at more assignment options tomorrow and in our slides session that we're doing. And then also in the Google Form session, we'll be looking at assignments and how those can look. So now's the time, to the last 10 minutes, questions, comments, all that stuff. Please let me know. All right, so Cheryl has a good question here about if you have multiple sections of the same grade, can I copy and cut and paste to duplicate all data for the various classes? You only, on your homework slide, if you're asking on your homework slide, you only need to do that once. I just only need to see one Google Classroom. If you're making 50 of them, I only want to see one. But if you're talking about how do you manage that, what I would do if I had multiple classes and I was going to if I had multiple classes, multiple sections of the same grade, and you're rarely going to have any homework, you could technically have everybody in one section. But the easiest thing for managing that would be creating your class. And so I've got my Google Classroom Eagle Butte. I have it set up exactly the way I want it. I have my topics in it. I have my grading. I have all of that, but I don't have any assignments in it. And then I would copy it. And then once I copy it, and I'll copy this just so you can see what happens. So once I copy the class, what will happen is I have a copy. And once I go into this class, I'm going to have drafts of the assignments that I had. I'm going to have all of that. The nice thing is, it's taking it a while. Yeah, no, I would just have a class for each section. And so now I have section 1, section 2. So to create your Google Classroom, you want to click on as long as you're in Google Classroom right now, as long as you're in the Google Classroom option, you want to click on the plus sign beside the waffle and then say create class. Okay, so now I've made a copy Cheryl, of my Eagle Butte class. Sweet. Okay, and so when you go into it, you're going to see the classwork that I had for you guys is here now in draft. My topics that I'd set up, all of that is going to be there. I'm going to, so now, when I go to a class and when I go to an assignment and I edit it, I can pick all the classes that I want it to go to. And so if you have 3 classes that are all the same or 5 classes that are all the same, they're just different sections, you can select all those. It will go to all students, and so you're not going to be able to pick and choose students if you select multiple classes, but I could then assign this out to all of my classes simultaneously. So hopefully that helps you as you're looking at this. All right, if you do not see, well, you should see the, okay, so are you in Google Classroom, Mary Chris?
Yes.
Okay, so if you are in Google Classroom, you should see the plus sign, because you should be able to either, if you're a student, you would see the plus sign and only see join class. If you don't see the plus sign, I'm not sure. Can you share your screen if I stop sharing?